Production funding for Behind the Headlines is made possible in part by
the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce and its member Renaissance Bank, committed to supporting the growth of businesses in the greater Memphis area. Community banking with local expedited decision-making. Details at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Supporters of de-annexation tonight on Behind the Headlines. I'm Eric Barnes, publisher of the Memphis Daily News. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined tonight by Terry Rowland, chair of the Shelby County Commission.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, thanks for being back. Along with David Reeves, also from the Shelby County Commission. Thanks for being here again.
Thank you for having me.
Along with Bill Dries, senior reporter with the Memphis Daily News. And so those who watched the show know, last week we did a show just purely for scheduling reasons. We only were able to get some of the folks who were opposed to the de-annexation bill on. And so this week we have two people on the other side of the issue. I'm sure we'll do future shows with everyone at the same table because clearly the issue hasn't gone away. But that does mean that I will kind of channel the other point of view as we go through, as I did on the show last week. Bill, why don't we start with what happened in this last week? Because the issue is not dead, but there are a lot of moves in the legislature. And let's get people updated.
Right. The most basic explanation is that the de-annexation proposal in the state Senate is dead for the rest of the legislative session. That session does not have very much time left in it. It will end this month. But as you mentioned, there is a summer study committee that will take place. That was the technical move that the State Senate State and Local Government Committee made. They sent it to a summer study committee. So there is every anticipation by people on all sides of this issue that there will be legislative proposals to do this coming up in the 2017 legislative session.
Right, and some people who follow the legislature would say that summer study can be a way to go to quietly kill a bill. It's sort of we'll quote unquote put it in summer study. Everything I've heard, and I'm curious what you all have heard, is this will be a real summer study. This issue, despite what happened this week in the Senate committee, this issue isn't going away, and right. No one should waste their time, not doing a summer study. But that's what I've heard.
That's exactly right. There will be another push next year. Let me say this: the reason why I'm supporting this is because I care and I love Memphis and Shelby County. Our biggest problem right now is keeping people in this county. The Commercial Appeal just come out with another study that shows we're still losing people. If you go to 51 Highway, 64 Highway, and 14 Highway, just Millington alone, there's 30,000 vehicles a day that goes up and down 51 Highway to and from Memphis. That's a problem. We've got to do what we can to keep people in Shelby County, because every time a taxpayer leaves, it ups the burden on the rest of us here.
Yeah. Let me get your reaction. Why you were in favor of the House bill as it passed, or the Senate compromise that was up? What was your take on the best way to do this in terms of the proposals that were in the legislature this year?
I was really better with the House bill because it very specifically dealt with issues that we have in the county. And one of the bigger issues, and it goes to Terry's point, is that we have a sprawling footprint that really has become unsustainable with the county, and that's with the city of Memphis. And at this point, there has been no administration really that has been willing to engage in a dialogue about really what the footprint of the city of Memphis should look like. And so this, I believe, was an effort to get them to the table, and it looks like it has succeeded.
Yeah, because in that sense, you do hear, you hear from Mayor Strickland, I think you hear from some of the city council people, a willingness, actually a real eagerness almost, to talk about shrinking the footprint of Memphis, to de-annex some areas. Their beef, they said, was the way this bill was shaped. That was, and again, just to channel the other point of view, that it was one targeting Memphis in a way that was unfair and was going to create great litigious, only the lawyers were going to win, the way the bill was shaped to just target those areas. And that, but you also see now people coming forward saying, let's find a process to do this. Let's find a way that maybe even is a win-win for Shelby County and for Memphis versus what they thought was a way that would just strip Memphis of tax dollars and so on, and just take the burden out on Memphis.
Right. Chairman Conrad contacted me yesterday, and we're going to put a committee together to do a study. And look, Memphis, if you look at their footprint, it's larger than Chicago, Illinois.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a nightmare to service.
Yes.
And if let me just give you a good example, and I'll just take 3. If Southwind, Windike, and we've got the numbers all in the county, Southwind, Windike, and South Cordova. Let's just use those 3 for instance. If those 3 came out and Memphis got to keep the sales tax and the commercial property tax, they're $3.5 million to the good. They make $3.5 million
Because they don't have to provide services in those areas,
Right.
but they continue to get the tax money.
Right. In other words, it's costing them more money to service those 3 areas than they're getting in residential property taxes.
Right.
So it'll be a savings for the city of Memphis, and they can take that money and reinvest it in the city.
Yeah, yeah. Before we get Bill in, your thoughts on what you'd like to see come out of the summer study, a future proposal. I mean, are you going to fight for, I just want what came up this year and failed, or are you going to fight for or advocate for a different kind of solution, maybe a solution that comes out of this joint committee that Chairman Rowland just talked about?
Well, personally speaking, I am for making sure that those 3 areas get a voice to actually de-annex if they are not actually de-annexed by the city of Memphis. So really what I'd like to see, and I like what's going on now, I don't believe that we get to the table to have this without this action in Nashville. Because I remember when I was first elected to the commission, we had lunch with A.C. Wharton, and he asked what were our priorities. I said, well, number 1 priority for me is the footprint of Memphis. We need to meet and talk about that. Over the past year and a half, he never came to us wanting to have that discussion. Right. So I think this forces the discussion. I think it's the right discussion, and I think the stability of the outer rim of the county is incredibly important to the long-term stability of the county in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bill.
So does that mean a discussion with the 6 suburban mayors about their footprint as well? Is that on the table here?
I don't think so.
No, I don't believe so either. I believe that that's not really in dispute. Their people are happy with their boundaries, who's been annexed in their territory, but there are several Memphis areas who are not.
Well, let me give you a caveat there.
Okay.
Millington is actually doing a de-annexation by ordinance right now.
And does Millington need legislation from the state
No.
in order to do that voluntarily?
No. See, the way the law is right now, you can de-annex, and that's why this meeting and this meeting of the bodies and meeting of the minds is so important, because now the city of Memphis can control it, because they will be able to de-annex themselves through an ordinance, okay? But if it goes to the state and the state passes the law, that takes that ability away from the city of Memphis.
Because the city of Memphis is the largest of the municipalities in terms of putting together the growth plan. So therefore, the city of Memphis has the final word on any changes to the growth plan?
No.
Okay.
Let me tell you, the city was in violation of the growth plan. That's what practically got me into politics back in 1998, was fighting Public Act 1101. Because what happened was each municipality took their growth plans, but Memphis says we're taking everything that's left. That's what started this mess. Of course, we were lucky. We were able to go to court and get put back rule up in Northwest Shelby. Up in Shelby Forest, Northwest Shelby County. But it didn't happen that way on this other end, and that's what has put us in the mess that we're in right now.
Bill, if I can, really the only areas that are in dispute are in the Memphis growth boundaries. So that's the reason why we're even at the table, because we are hearing from those communities. I mean, I represent Bartlett and Lakeland. I hear nothing in Bartlett and Lakeland about their boundaries. I hear everything in Cordova and in Southwind and Windike about their boundaries.
And let's go to, this week we tried to have Patricia Postle, I believe I'm pronouncing her name correctly, just scheduling wise, she couldn't be here. She's been an advocate, an activist from Cordova. She spoke, I think, at the same table you did at the Senate committee. Let's hear from her and talk about what she had to say.
Some may consider annexation by ordinance just, but to this day, it's incomprehensible. How can any American think it's acceptable for a governing body, which does not have a single representative, from another area make decisions that adversely affect that area outside of their jurisdiction. I live in South Cordova. It was hostilely annexed July 1st, 2012. The first time we were able to vote for city council representation was November 2015. That's 4 long years of taxation without representation.
And is that, she's from South Cordova, I don't think I introduced that correctly. Is that the fundamental issue? I mean, she kind of hits it, certainly very passionate, very upset about the situation, and feeling like a lot of people in South Cordova feeling like they were wronged in this process.
Well, look, they woke up one day, and it was in the newspaper that they had been annexed. Then they get a bill in the mail, retroactively. They had to go back and pay a whole year of taxes.
Right.
You know, and hadn't had any service. And let me tell you, quite frankly, they don't get serviced over there now. If you look at Windike and Southwind, they're gated communities, so they don't even get garbage pickup. They pay for their own garbage pickup. So it was clearly a hostile, egregious takeover is what it was.
But it was also an annexation that had been pending in the courts for, what, over 10 years?
Two of those were.
Right.
Two of those were, right.
South Cordova wasn't.
Right.
Okay, but they were represented by legal counsel, were they not?
South Cordova wasn't.
Right.
South Cordova was not. The Southwind and Windike, that does go back some years, but South Cordova had no. I mean, they just voted one day, next day they took them.
And this kind of goes back to the thought: just because it was permissive in the statute, does not mean it was what was best for the community. And you know, that particular community was happy with more of their rural lifestyle, their larger lots. They were not real interested in being annexed by an urban area, providing urban services, not what they needed. So what this looks like, it looks more like a revenue grab as opposed to we really want to provide some type of service that you want. Right. Because they didn't really want what they had.
Your colleague on the Shelby County Commission, Heidi Schaefer, has also talked about this South Cordova area in particular. At the resolution of this, if this part of South Cordova is de-annexed, are we left with a patchwork Cordova where some's in the city and some's outside of the city?
No, not at all, because of the way they did it. Now, this is an ongoing deal here. Now, I mean, we're talking about certain areas and certain issues, but you know, you still got Countrywood out there and Berry Hill and some of those other places.
We'll put a map up that kind of just to orient people to this, to the areas we're talking about. What though, like, a couple things that we've talked about. And again, I should say that we have one side of the show, one side of the issue on today. We had the other side on last week. So, you know, Bill and I, to some extent, will kind of channel the things the other people are saying. I think Patricia Postle, earlier in that clip, and we couldn't play the whole thing, she talks about how they were very aware of the litigation and they were very aware that it was possible it was going to happen. They didn't know it was going to happen that day.
Right.
I think that's what she said.
Well, but the South Cordova was clearly separate from Southwind and Windike.
Yeah.
Two different things.
But would you too, as people, I mean, let's say the city de-annexed those two areas, the areas that we're really focused on, which were the areas that were originally noted in the bill, the House bill that passed. It was then expanded, but it was originally just those two areas. If the city, you know, de-annexed those two areas in the next 2 months, would you say, great, done, it's all over, everybody's happy?
I think you'd have to take a step towards that.
Okay.
I can't speak for the other people in the other areas. But the way I looked at it when we did the study, those were the three most likely because they're already, you know, they're already got their numbers and they're together.
Yeah. If those two were de-annexed by the city in the next 8 weeks or something like that, would you say, great, we're done, you know, we can move on to other issues?
I don't think we're done.
Okay.
I think that it probably takes the de-annexation bill probably off the table, but what it doesn't stop is the need for a comprehensive review of the footprint. So that's just a how do we get to a destination. That's just one part of it.
But do you agree, though, that conversation should happen in Memphis, not with a bunch of East Tennessee legislators? I mean, that's one of the critics of this whole bit of the bill and the process was you had all these people who don't know Memphis voting to target not just Memphis, but other cities without knowing all the history.
It should take place here.
Okay.
But it has not until now.
Which gets back to your point of
And
this threat maybe will force
Exactly
people to
right.
come together and do this more level-headed.
Exactly right.
Okay, Bill.
Does that larger discussion about growth take place around the growth plan?
I think it takes place around.
Let me interrupt. What is a growth plan? Let's do a little history for those who. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
What is the growth plan that we keep referencing?
What I'm calling the growth plan it is basically that you had to have all of the municipalities in a county come together and agree. This is in our annexation reserve in Memphis. This is in our annexation reserve in Bartlett. This is ours in Millington. It was an outgrowth of the tiny towns law that came
And the tiny
about
towns, I'm going to let you get in. The tiny towns was the fear that Memphis and other cities in areas in Tennessee would break into these many little tiny towns. Like St. Louis, for instance, is made up of something like 95 municipalities. Some would say it's a part of how Ferguson happened was that Ferguson is a tiny town on the outskirts of St. Louis. It was starved of services and revenue.
Right.
And so tiny towns was an effort to avoid that. Is that correct?
It was a bill that became law under State Lieutenant Governor John Wilder. It was repealed, and this was what came out of the repeal.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back. I think that history is important.
It's a moot point. Let me tell you why it's a moot point. There is no more growth plan. When they passed the annexation laws last year,
Annexation by referendum.
It's right. Annexation by referendum. You throw your growth plan away.
Right.
Because it's not going to grow unless the people vote to want to be part of it.
But Mark Norris, Majority Leader in the Senate and representative from East Memphis, does have a bill that changes the way in which
It died
the growth
yesterday.
But I mean, yeah, everything died this week. But like we said, the issue isn't dead.
Let me tell you,
the issue isn't dead.
the bill that Mark Norris has got, Senate Bill 1817, is not. Let me tell you, if you think the de-annexation and annexation bill, if that bill passes to where you don't have to have contiguous growth, that you can go out here, hopscotch around, and a city annex here and there. Let me tell you, that is a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I promise you that me personally, I will do everything I can to see that law stop.
And we need to go ahead.
So I really think this is more about Memphis, and because Memphis makes up 3/4 of the county, and it's really about what should Memphis be? What should its footprint look like? Really, what is the core and the essence of what comprises the city of Memphis? And it's not comprised of a sprawling urban, suburban, rural type of setup. They're not a county. They're a city that has its own DNA, and what we're not doing is mapping the boundaries to the DNA. And so I think that this discussion does that. Now, on the other hand, any choices we make with whether things are de-annexed by referendum, not by referendum, by ordinance, the county on the other side has to figure out how do we provide the services for those areas that were de-annexed. That were de-annexed. So I think it's an important discussion, but this is really about the city of Memphis and its footprint because it's unsustainable today.
But were you worried at any point as county commissioners, as chair of the county commission, when the full bill, the House bill was out there and there was the potential of 110,000 people and the potential of $26 to $110 million, and there was all the services that would, but just
them numbers are BS, man.
But that's what they're saying. So what was were you concerned that the county would be at any price be able to provide the services to these areas?
Let me tell you, our study that we did with the county, and that's all the directors and the CAO, the mayor. We come up, if all 10 of those areas had a de-annexed, it would have cost the county $13 million. And that $13 million went mostly for public safety.
To the
$13 million, okay?
Right.
You wouldn't even have to have a tax increase for that, okay? And let me tell you, these numbers about the city losing 120, look, I wish you wouldn't say that because it's false.
Well, no, I know. But again, like for those who maybe tuned in late, you've got two sides of the opinion. We only have one side today, and I gotta. You can shoot it down, but I gotta tell you what they're saying, and I gotta tell them what they're saying.
But the money, I mean, it just don't because they're getting to keep the sales tax and the commercial property tax, which is 99% of what they're getting.
Let me ask your colleague on the county commission. Were you at any point worried that the county would be able to provide those services?
No, I was not.
Okay. bill.
And we should also point out that the discussion in the legislature was so fluid up until the Senate sent this to Summer
Right.
Study Committee that at one point the Senate version had some kind of OPEB calculation in there for the city that was included in their bill that was not included in the House bill. So how complex are the talks that we're having locally about that?
All right, well, we're going to get into that, Bill, but think about it. Memphis is down 400 policemen.
Mm-hmm.
They're down several firemen, okay? They haven't done anything in those areas. They haven't issued any bonds. So what OPEB?
What about the sewers?
The sewers were put in there by the developers and the county, and then Memphis annexed it, okay? And the citizens have to pay like gas and waters for those services wherever they're at. So the city ain't out nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell folks. Look, I come from the business world. I'm a businessman. I know dollars and cents, and I know numbers. And nothing from nothing leaves nothing. They have done nothing, so there's nothing there to divide up.
Why then was, from your point of view, was the business community so opposed? We had Pitt High. Members of the business community. I know. We got lots of time. I'll let you in. But again, I got to channel the other side just so we have a fair debate on it. The business community, the chamber, the Pitt Hyde was up there, First Tennessee was up there the week before you were there testifying opposed to this bill. There were lots of business people on the other side of this issue who felt that this was a dangerous issue that, and again, going even forward, if it's handled improperly, would hurt not just Memphis, but hurt the whole area in terms of economic development, business recruitment, taxes, uncertainty, and so on. You don't buy that.
No, I don't buy that, and I'm going to tell you what, I don't buy the business community and the Chamber of Commerce sticking their nose and we're trying to become a political machine out there. Really, let me explain to you. Corporate in Memphis is what got us in this problem, okay? The pilots that we're giving away, okay, and I'm just going to tell you just like it is. The pilots that we're giving away are being subsidized on the backs of the normal everyday taxpayer, okay? So for Pitt Hyde to think he's got more of a voice than the gentleman sitting over in Cordova about the way he lives, it's absolutely wrong.
Okay, your take on that, the business community, a portion of, I should say, you correct me on that, and that's fair, a portion of the business community, the Chamber of Commerce, other, very opposed, actively, Pitt Hyde testifying, First Tennessee testifying, and so on. Are they just misguided?
Well, I think that their interests lie with themselves, not really for the citizens in the county. And so I think that they're more worried about self-preservation than they are really about the citizens and what their desires are.
But doesn't the preservation of, say, AutoZone, isn't that, AutoZone may be based downtown, but if AutoZone, if corporations like that didn't succeed, that would hurt your district in Bartlett.
Well, listen, we have more than our fair share of good businesses in the county. Many of them take advantage of the pilot situation. But I did watch the testimony that came from the business leaders, and I'll be honest with you, most of them bankroll most of the politicians that are up in high positions in this county. So what are they typically? They're attack dogs and go do part of the dirty work for the politicians that we have elected in this county. Listen, I don't buy it either. I'm on the same page with Terry. We have to abate so much of our property tax. It costs us as a county, and what are we getting out of it? We're getting what, $8, $9, $10 an hour jobs? They need to be careful because you know who holds the keys to EDGE? We do.
That's right.
Right. So in what sense could you make changes to EDGE? And what would you do?
Let me tell you, when we created EDGE, I put a further...
EDGE being the group that runs the pilot programs and issues them. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. But.
When we created EDGE, now David wasn't there, but I'm sure he would have voted for this. I'll put a further, be it further resolved clause in there that at any time we could take a vote of 7 commissioners and get rid of EDGE.
And do you want to do that?
No, but let me tell you, there's problems. Let me tell you, we passed a resolution to put $250,000 in for 300 jobs for 4 years, okay? 300 repeating jobs for 4 years. And the mayor came down and got on to us, and I got to thinking, well, Mayor, you just gave IKEA a $20 million pilot, okay, for 172 retail jobs. Now, you take 172 and divide it into $20 million and tell me how much those 172 jobs cost. Now, let me tell you, we're an ad valorem county. So we rely heavily on property tax.
Right.
So anytime you give something away, the people are going to have to subsidize it on their backs, and that's wrong. It needs to change.
All right, 1 minute left. I'll give Bill the last question.
Basically, this is going to be a much larger discussion in terms of, I guess, what you would call right-sizing what we do, David. And so you're going to be looking at the school system's capital needs in particular in committee coming up this next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Shelby County School System has a very sprawling school district full of capital, has a $475 million in deferred maintenance, and a lot of underutilized schools. And it creates pressure on their operating expenses, and it's something that we're going to have to fix over the next probably decade.
So as an immediate resolution, what are you talking about coming up here out of this initial discussion?
So very specifically, any projects that we're looking to do are going to be fit through a very narrow lens of, does the building have preservation of 10 years? Is it maximizing its capacity? Things like that.
Okay. Thank you both. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Join us again next week. Good night.
Production funding for Behind the Headlines is made possible in part by the Bartlett Area Chamber of Commerce and its member Renaissance Bank, committed to supporting the growth of businesses in the greater Memphis area. Community banking with local expedited decision making. Details at renaissancebank.com. Renaissance Bank, member FDIC.